Crystal Ortiz, like you already know, and I am a volunteer for Mind Your Mind, and for about a year now. And Mind Your Mind is a program that offers mental health resources for young people. And so I was just wondering, your music is very direct, and you've turned some of your darkest moments into songs that show positivity instead, like Savior. And how do you feel when you see a fan living out their own experience through your songs?
It's very, very, very cool, and it's very gratifying, because I know I write very cathartically. I write because I need it, and because it gets me through, and because it helps focus my attention and all of my positivity towards the things that I really want to change. And that's what my whole record, The Listening, is about. It's about really figuring out, like, the first couple of years living alone, and the things, the battles you have to face. And everybody has their vices, and everybody has the things that they struggle with, and that was my way of dealing with it, you know. And it's normal for everybody to feel all these crazy things, and the best thing to do is just channel it in a way that you think works. And so for me, it was a completely, like, indulgent thing. It was what I needed to do, and so seeing other people be moved in the same way by it, A, makes me feel less alone, and B, it makes me feel like my work is worth something, you know. That's what it's all about.
So you've described yourself as a video game geek. That's really cool. What's your favorite video game besides World of Warcraft?
I'm into a lot of games. A lot of the games I'm into are RPG games, like role-playing games, which I really like the experience and being taken away to another world, you know. And it's very inspiring to see other worlds that you would normally never get to see. So I'm playing Fable 3 a lot, and I really like Final Fantasy games. Final Fantasy 13 is one that I've been playing on Xbox a lot.
So you're a fan of comics. Have you ever been to FanX or anything like that?
I've been to Fan Expo quite a few times in Toronto. I missed all the major Comic-Cons, but I actually missed Fan Expo this year because we were on tour. But the previous years I've gone, and it's just so much fun. And it's like a bunch of people with like interests all in the same room, and it's so fun. It feels great.
That's so cool. In your song White of your first EP, the chorus is "Turn your shadows white." To me, the message is clear: transform the negative in life into the positive. Is this a reflection of how you deal with negative aspects of your life?
Sort of. I mean, that the idea was that when I wrote White, I had this idea in my mind, this sort of concept that when you're working through whatever you're working through, there's like a little man walking around in your body with a flashlight. And he walks into into the ends of your fingers, and the inside of you, like, hollow, right? And looks in all the nooks and crannies for any darkness, and then shines a light on it, right? That was the visual I was working with for that song, and that's what that was kind of about. Where it's like you can't deal with all your problems at once, but little by little you go in and you find every little thing as you go, and that was the cathartic process of songwriting for me. And that's kind of what I do. You can't tackle everything at once, but little by little you can find everything slowly and surely.
That's so cool. So I have some few fun questions for you.
Cool.
Okay. So what's your favorite food?
It changes all the time, but I'm such a huge fan of like rolled up deli turkey dipped into like spicy Dijon mustard.
Wow.
It's really good.
Is it? Oh my god. Do you like spaghetti?
Not really. I'm not a huge spaghetti fan.
Really?
I like lasagna.
Oh my god. Oh, heaven. What do you do when you're you have days off in between while touring?
As there are few and far between, and usually they are filled with doing laundry and cleaning up, because that's the only chance you get to do it. Otherwise, I'm gaming, or I actually am taking a class right now, so like homework kind of thing.
What class are you taking?
I'm taking computer science. Someday I'll get into video game design, but it's going to be a long time coming. It's just something I'm interested in. And otherwise, sometimes when I get home from tour, and you've been going and going and going for months, I walk in my apartment and just sit there. I have like this big carpet on my floor, and I just sit on it for like hours. Just lay there, and it's the best.
Wow. You're so random. I like that. Do you have any guilty pleasures?
Probably lots, but the thing is that my guilty pleasures are the things I'm the most proud of, I think. So that's when, and then I talk about them, so they're not really guilty pleasures, but I have some artists that I really love listening to, and I'm unashamed about it, like tattoo. I love tattoo. In fact, it's not even guilty pleasure. They're amazing.
Yeah.
I really like candy. Like, I'll go to the corner store and buy like bags of 5-cent gummies unabashedly. Just, you pick through all and just get a bag full and just eat it.
Those are so
There's
good.
little things like that. But, I can't really call those guilty pleasures because they're just simple pleasures, I guess.
Yeah. You have 2 superhero tattoos. My initial thought is they represent that you may be petite, but unstoppable. Is that right?
Well, yeah, the one tattoo is Wonder Woman fighting Giganta, and Giganta's a giant, obviously, so it looks huge. I think, the idea is just to empower me and feel like no matter who you are, big or small, female or man, brave or not brave, you can still be empowered and feel strong. And I like to feel that way. I have lots of weapons tattooed on me too, and that's not because I'm violent. It's because they're metaphorical weapons. You have things that you fight with in this battle that we live in, and it's words and wisdom and braveness and strength.
Braveness. That's a cool word.
What's the word for braveness? Valiance.
Yeah. Right now, like she already introduced, I'm working with the Mind Your Mind, and the project is called Youth Voices, and the purpose of it is to help newcomers. And so I've heard that you were raised by missionary parents, and I was wondering, which meant that you spent much of your childhood in various parts of the world, such as Philippines, where I came from, and I thought that was really cool, and Jamaica as well. And I was wondering, when you were homeschooled, how did you think that has crafted you to be the person you are today?
Well, a couple of the biggest things is one, the relationship with my family that I've built over these years, especially having moved around and experiencing the world with them and learning from them and just being with them all the time, and that being the one platform that really kept me together. To this day, when I'm in a position where I hardly ever get to see them, there's still a foundation for me, and that is a strength for me when I'm very weak. When you go through your hardest time, you still have someone you can talk to that really knows you, no matter how often you talk to them. So that foundation with my family was kind of priceless, and then kind of just the experience of moving around a lot set me up for a life of moving around a lot. I tour. I live out of a suitcase, and when I was a kid, I kind of did that too. And you learn to not hold on to things that you shouldn't be holding on to, and just let go and experience the world as it comes. And that's definitely one of the most valuable lessons that I've learned.
That's so cool. And as a newcomer, what advice would you give to newcomers who are having a hard time to making transition into settling into a new place?
I think one of the things that I've learned in touring, when you tour, for example, your team around you sometimes changes, the people around you change, the people you have to learn to trust and be guided by, to a certain degree, changes, and you have to just accept those people. I think the worst thing, I remember when I first started touring, the worst thing I did was you start to close everything off because you don't trust anybody. And you just close off into your own world, and you're like, I'm just going to do this. And the best thing you can do is the people around you, learn to love them and learn to let them in and learn to trust them and let them teach you and guide you what they know. That will make everything a lot easier. The worst thing you can do is shut yourself in, and that will just get worse and worse and worse. I think the day that I just started opening up and trusting the people around me was the best day of my life.
Really? That's so cool. Your song Face Up, which I really, really love.
Thank you.
Gives a really powerful powerful, positive message. And what were you meaning to say about this song? What message were you projecting when people listened to that particular song?
Well, again, that's one of those songs that I wrote for myself because it's what I needed. I was just really having a rough time. I consider it getting attacked. I was getting mentally attacked. And I was in LA at the time when we were doing it, and this weird housing complex that I don't know what's going on. And I was this is really boring and lonely, and that song is just kind of about when you're in those places mentally, when you feel like the world hates you, stop being stupid, because the world doesn't hate you, and everyone else is going through the same thing. Everyone else feels that. Everyone goes through that time when they think the whole world hates them, or when they think everything is against them. And it's really silly. And you just have to realize that, you know, like look around you, everybody else goes through the same things. Open up, you know, keep your face up. When you wake up in the morning, it's a new day.
Yeah.
And you know, your position is not going to change. The only one that's going to change that is you. So it's kind of just like, it's like, I wrote it was like this. That's what it's like. It's like a little smack in the face for when you feel like that. Because it's silly to feel like that. You shouldn't feel like that. You have to bring yourself out of that.
Yeah. What gives you hope?
A lot of things. Knowing that I think there are bigger things in this world that keep you going and give you the inspiration that you need.
Yeah.
And your family. My family is so good. And just one of the biggest things that gives me hope is actually drawing yourself out of the picture and looking at the world like it's this big, and seeing how very trivial your problems really are. Like, I went back to the Philippines in August actually with World Vision, and we were working in a lot of the poor areas, and seeing that there's, you know, like amazing people like so deserving of prosperity that don't have it, and they're still so generous and happy, and that, you know, seeing that kind of thing makes me less afraid that I'm going to fail. I'm like, if you fail, that's not the end of the world.
Exactly.
Pick it up again, do it again.
Right on.
You know, and like that's inspiring to me. It makes me feel okay. Yeah. As long as you can find something that's greater than you, then you'll never be afraid to wipe out, because everyone does.
That's cool. Do you have any words to live by?
I have found in love written on my finger, and
That's so
it's
cool.
the idea that my parents were always teaching me, that, you know, if everything you do in life, let it be out of love. You could, you know, do the greatest thing in the world. You could give all your money to the poor people, but if it's not because you love them, then it's really worth nothing. So everything you do should be in love. All your decisions, and it makes things easy when you think about it. You know, if it's not a money grab, or it's not for your, you know, own purposes or to get ahead, that's probably the wrong decision to make. You think about it if it's because, you know, you really care. Everything you do should be found in love.
That's so cool. But thank you so much.
No problem.
For giving your time, and that's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you.